Okay, welcome back. We're still plowing through A Link to the Past. Turtle Rock. This is where we rescue the last maiden, Zelda. And this is a tougher dungeon and boss. After this, it's just the battle against... Or, excuse me, we have to do Ganon's Tower, which is very difficult. It's a very long one. It's fun, but it's long. Alright, looks like we're trapped in here. I will say this, what I dislike about this dungeon is the treasure. You need to get the mirror shield, and the mirror shield takes up virtually the entire Link sprite. It's too big. They should have made it a lot smaller, and unfortunately unless you know, like I'm sure there's a glitch to where you can get past the section of the dungeon, but you have to have it on a regular playthrough. Okay, now this first part of the dungeon is not terribly difficult. I don't know that I got everything here yet. Let's explore a little more. Now, I read a story recently that Saturday Night Live there's a rumor that they will be ending after season 50. And if I'm being honest, they probably should have ended at season 40. The show long ran out of gas. In my opinion, maybe 15 years ago, but they've decided they want to hit that, as far as the rumors are concerned, that they're going to hit that 50 season milestone and then wrap it up. Now, I'm obviously too young to recall Saturday Night Live in the 70s. I missed out on the glory years with Belushi and Chevy Chase. Oh, I think I went the wrong way. I think I'm supposed to go the other way. That gives me a better chance of making it through the door. Well, this'll work too. Now, when I was very small, maybe like 10 years old, was the, I don't remember Saturday Night Live in the 80s. I would have been too young for it anyway. But no one really talks about it in the 80s, and I think that's because it wasn't a weekly show in the 80s. I think it used to come on maybe only like a couple times a year or something like that. I don't know specifically, so don't quote me on that. But in the 90s, I certainly remember it. I remember it being beloved. I used to watch it. You know, those great characters, those great comedians. You know, Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, Chris Farley, David Spade, Kevin Nealon, Rob Schneider, Adam Sandler. Like, the list goes on. Chris Rock. All of which went on to become pretty big stars. The show was actually famous for its ability to, you know, churn out future stars. All those great characters that they played. You know, Matt Foley, motivational speaker. Church Lady, Wayne and Garth. Coffee Talk. Yeah, the list goes on and on. Yeah, the show, there was a lot of fun. I think that's the comedy was good. Now, me personally, I am a much, much bigger fan of the Saturday Night Live of the later part of the 90s, 96 through 98, I think, were the absolute peak years. All those great comedians. I think I've talked about it before, but Jim Brewer, Chris Kattan, Mark McKinney was on for a year. You know, great comedian from Kids in the Hall. Molly Shannon and Cherry O'Terry, they were absolutely hilarious. Anna Gasteyer, in my opinion, was probably the weakest of the bunch. But top to bottom, you know, there was talent and they were all funny. And the writing was great. I think they had the best comedians for writing sketch comedy on board. And then I think where it all kind of came apart was when they got rid of Norm Macdonald. That was a huge mistake in my opinion because a couple things. One, obviously they got rid of, in my opinion, their most talented guy. But two, once they terminated Norm Macdonald because he was making too many jokes about O.J. Simpson. The commonly held belief is that one of the executives at NBC had befriended O.J. when he was doing, because O.J. used to be a broadcast partner on NBC before the murder allegations. And I guess he made friends with some of the executives at NBC. They were golf buddies. And then when Norm Macdonald kept making jokes about it, they yeah, that was it. They decided to the NBC executive, and I can't remember his name, but he did have, there is a lot of information about it online. The NBC executive requested that the producers of Saturday Night Live terminate Norm Macdonald. So, but once they made that decision to terminate Norm for making jokes about O.J. Simpson, which, I mean, O.J. Simpson was such a big story. You know, how could a comedian not make jokes about it? It was all over the news. You know, it'd be like telling people not to make jokes about Bill Clinton during the Monica Lewinsky scandal, you know, back then. They were both big stories that tons of comedians were making jokes. But for whatever reason at NBC, they told Norm Macdonald that he was fired for it. And that was a big mistake. Not just because it resulted in losing a big talent, but also because you're basically telling your comedians, hey, there's stuff here, there's stuff that's off limits, there's stuff you can't make jokes about. And the writing suffers. They went from being able to freely joke about whatever they wished to now being, second guessing, oh, well, maybe the executives at NBC, maybe I could lose my job if I don't do it, we could lose our jobs if we make certain types of jokes. And that, when that happens, you might as well not bother. The comedy suffers, and you might as well not even bother watching. Okay, so we're trying to find that route, and we're getting our butt kicked trying to find it. There we go. Okay, before we get that, I do recall, full disclosure, there's an area coming up where you can get stuck. And I accidentally made the mistake and got stuck. So this time we're gonna do it without getting stuck. We're going to come back and get 2 more fairies. If you fall there, then you basically have to find your way back to the dungeon and redo it. Not from scratch. You'll have the items, but you have to progress your way back up, so... There we go. We got our fairy. Oh, we only needed one. Now, after Norm Macdonald was terminated, I remember Colin Quinn came in, and he wasn't a suitable replacement. He wasn't as funny or entertaining. The writing started to suffer. And I remember it was very obvious that the show's best days were behind it when... Whoa, let's get rid of this guy first. It was 1999 or 2000. I can't remember. But the host was Garth Brooks, who had been the... he was both the musical host and the... both the musical host and the, comedy guest host. And I just remember he had zero charisma, zero chemistry. Oh my gosh. All right. Hopefully you find a little more magic. Remember, a lot of the jokes fell flat. And it was not a good episode. It was like the first, after having watched the show, throughout the early 90s, 5-6 years, from like 1991 until whatever it was, 98, 99, I think, 99 or 2000. It was the first bad episode where I didn't laugh, I didn't find it funny. And I remember just being so disappointed. Like, I hate to use the cliche jump the shark, but I guess that's what it was. I felt like, ugh. Not even jump the shark, just knowing that the show's best days were behind it. That it wasn't going to be as funny going forward. And, you could just see it, every week. Will Ferrell was expected to step up and really carry the comic load. And, he had been funny when he was used more sparingly on the show. But I remember, when he only had a few characters he was doing, but then he was doing his George W. Bush impression. He was in like virtually every segment, so they were expecting him to carry the comic load, and as funny and talented as he was being overexposed, and the show just, in my opinion, it cratered. The worst thing that Saturday Night Live did, in my opinion, was the hiring of Kel Williams. They hired him 2005 or 2006, and he just dragged the show. They had 2005 to 2006. They still had a couple really funny performers. They had Rachel Dratch, who was hilarious, and Horatio Sands. But other than them, the rest of that cast, never a big Jimmy Fallon or Seth Meyers fan. It's astonishing to me that they have their own shows these days. Oh my gosh. It's okay, we got plenty of magic, in fact. Why not? That wasn't so bad. The show also doesn't churn out stars the way it did. They used to have... I mean, when you look at like all the stars in the 90s that they churned out, namely that early 90s cast and crew, and then you compare it to... they tried with... Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were briefly stars, but now all they can manage is cell phone commercials. They tried also to push Kirsten Wiig and Kate McKinnon, but again, they've gotten some acting gigs here and there, but they've really struggled to, break through. You're not going to see anyone. They just haven't. I mean, when you look at the cast in the last 5 years alone, they haven't been able to create any new stars. Like, you can't even name who they are. Pete Davidson, they've tried with him. He hasn't really gotten any traction. Colin Yost, or whatever. Finesse Mitchell. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to get a blue potion, and then we're going to come right back. I will say this about A Link to the Past. As far as the map is concerned, and I'll show it again in 1 second. Here, first we're going to use our green potion to make room for our... Gotta use it first. We'll buy 2. We don't really need money at this point anymore. Or actually, let's do a blue and a red. Let's mix it up. But as I was saying, with the, they really did a nice job with the warp points. They really know which warp points you need to hit. Like, there's Death Mountain, there's the Potion Shop, very convenient. Hyrule Village, Link's House. Can't remember. I mean, you have the one at the southern end of Lake Hylia, the dam area, the desert area. Where does 5 take you? I can't remember. Nice fairy fountain. I guess since we got a couple more minutes, we are just going to show off briefly something that's always kind of puzzled gamers. Well, I mean, I guess it's not especially puzzling, but it's certainly interesting. We are going to show off the good bee. So I believe it is here in the statue. Yep, that's the good bee. We're gonna have to free a fairy to make room for it. I think in other versions it's also called the gold bee. And truthfully, I haven't completely explored the Dark World in these videos. You know, it's a link to the past. I'm almost certain that, you know, it's been discussed to death. Everyone's kind of gone over it, but it still is kind of fun to... Oh, is this the bomb shop? No, it's not where I want to be. But it still is kind of fun to just wander around and explore. Oh, that's right, we have to be north of the sanctuary. So we're gonna have to kind of loop around. Okay, so this is the part that I know I didn't notice it as a kid. Probably, or maybe I did, but not in my first playthrough. I'm 100% sure I didn't see this until I played through the game a couple of times. But this interesting little shop here. I wish it was a little bit easier to access on the map so that I would have found it. No heart. But he has a fireproof shield for 500 rupees. And honestly, on my first playthrough, I did not know that I didn't know you could get the fireproof shield. I never found the waterfall where you throw your boomerang and your shield into, so played with the crummy shield through up until Turtle Rock where you get the mirror shield. Had I been able to find this shop, I would have thought, oh, you just have to spend a lot of money and you get it. But this shop is so out of the way and so hidden. And I could have sworn that you sold this guy the good bee. I think maybe there's another merchant or whatever. You also access this place kind of strange. You wouldn't think that you just jump over that fence. Okay, there's my heart. Okay, so now we're going to go back to... Well, first we're going to... I guess we'll find a ferry at some point along the way. But we're going to go back to Death Mountain and get to Ganon's Tower. That heart piece is still there. No heart pieces for me, not a one. I did get all 4 bottles, though. Okay, so we will go ahead and stop right here. Well, I guess, let's see, where's the, we'll go ahead and access the Dark World first, so that we don't have to do that in the next playthrough. Let's get rid of our good bee and try and catch that fairy. I guess we're not gonna get the fairy. Is this where we get the cane from? I guess we'll take a minute to get the cane. Probably should have left that pot there. Nope, I guess there's another way to access it. We'll give it one more shot. Is it you jump all the way down? No, that's not it. Oof. Okay, well, whatever. We'll go ahead and stop right here. Next time, we'll finish up Ganon's tower and then Ganon.